This is Margaret in Windsor, and I ran out of space on that, so this is going to be the third video, the last half of it, about ethylene glycol and what they did to me and who I am, and after I'd written a book, medical malpractice book. MD License to Kill is unpublished because they almost killed me. So I'm going to get back to where I ended this tape. I'm going to put it up. And by the way, I wanted to say this. I usually put out stuff to support my videos. I've got so many up, YouTubes and Facebook, and I've got 2 YouTube accounts. One of them, my phone was stolen and I haven't gotten it back yet, but you can access it, I hope. And the one I'm on now, and I'm on Facebook, so it tells it there, but I wanted to finish this. So this will be number 3, ethylene glycol. And by the way, I do put up, and I put up on this one, death by ethylene glycol, number 1, and then 2 and 3. And when it comes up that it's finished and the video's ready to be watched, it's loaded, ready to be watched, it comes up and it switches. It's got the title up there, and I make sure it's short, so that's not the problem, and I've done this before. The last month, it's been fooled with, my account has. So it came back with ready to watch and the title. Then I can't get it, and right below it, as before, there's another one that says Untitled, and you can watch it, but people aren't going to know, what I'm talking about, really. So it messes it up. But anyway, I wanted to get back to the part where they came to, I'm in West Paces Ferry and went for a talk screen, and Dr. Chilton, and you need to know where he was over Parkwood Hospital, where Victor Gonzalez, a doctor who raped and what he did to patients who are sick, and he was also a child psychiatrist. He goes back to the Kennedy, when Kennedy was brought into Parkland out in Dallas. He was interning, and he's in Redstone Arsenal as an Army doctor, while me and my husband and children are living in Huntsville. That's the Space Center, about 62 till 66. Come find out my husband is transferred to Atlanta. He's with Martin Lockheed now. And Gonzalez is over at Lenox Square at Twin Tower over there across from Lenox Shopping Center. The SOB. Killing, rotten rapist. Okay, now I want to get to how convenient my husband took me to him. He was my husband then. What a joke. Diagnosis murder was never a diagnosis. It was murdering me. It's who I am that all this has happened. So I'm back to, if I can get back to it, I'm at West Paces Ferry. I have no talks, which I went there for. Instead, I end up getting locked up in you might as well call it locked up. I tried to walk out, and they told me they'd have an intern fill me full of Halidol. They gave me 1 pill of Halidol upon putting me back there, and by that time I'd never had that. God help me. And it's all illegal. They used it as a murder weapon, just like, look what they did to Dorothy Kilgallen and Martha Mitchell, and that's just to name a couple they've killed. Martha Mitchell was Mitchell, who was Attorney General, wasn't he, under Nixon? And she tried to tell everybody that her husband didn't commit the crimes, and she tried to tell the truth, and she was locked up and killed, called nuts and everything. Dorothy Kilgallen was killed when she had the Kennedy link. Okay, now I want to get back to this. Suddenly I couldn't get to anybody. I did have one friend that used to, I'm going to put this up, because I thought she was the dearest friend. Her name was Sherry Harrison. Come to find out, she'd moved to Florida, Daytona Beach, and I had enough money to call her, and she knew all about me writing the book. She bought a home next door to me, and Westgate there in Marietta, and she said, well, I called her mother, And she answered the phone and said, we just got back for a vacation here and going to pick up some of their furniture, last of it, and go back to Florida. And I told her what had happened. I begged her, I said, please come and get me. That was the last time this woman, who I thought was my best friend, that I would have done anything for, and I did. And that was it. You can't believe what happens when people, well, anyway, let me get back to this. She didn't come, obviously, so I'm stuck. I can't get my ex-husband. He's in California. And they did do a urine analysis, and then they said they didn't do a physical, nothing. Blood test, certainly not the tox screen I asked for. So I'm in there, and they're saying that they're going to, if I try to leave, they'll get one of the mail order at least to hold me down and fill me full of Halidol. Well, they'd give me Halidol upon entering, and I didn't know what it was. And if I wasn't in hell there, you can sure count on it. It was hell that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And by the way, I just saw on TV, what was it? It was on ID, Investigative Reports. Keith Morrison had a program on a person that was killed by ethylene glycol, and he told it right on there. It is so horrific. They tried to say the person committed suicide. Bull. I wonder if that's what they were going to try to get away with saying about me now. I don't know. Nothing's ever been prosecuted. Anyway, they said the urine analysis was set out too long, was contaminated. That's bull. I knew they were going to kill me. I was never going to walk out of there. I was probably already dead with whatever had been given me. So, and Lionel Dempsey had gone back to, didn't see her again until. So now then, I'm going to skip. A British nurse saved my life, all right? Let's just put it blunt. British were there and saved my life along the way, and the Germans. So now then, next day, I tied myself with a sheet to keep from screaming, because I thought, God, if they give me any more of that, I'll scream my head off and they'll kill me then. So they, there was another woman in the room with me. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't know if I was asleep, but a black man and a white nurse, I guess she's a nurse, I don't know if she's a nurse or not, they came in the room, and they have to pass in front of the first bed and get back to me. And I remember the nurse saying, and it was this arm, so this is my left, I can't find a vein, she has bad veins. They put something in me, and they left the swab that had blood on it and alcohol. So the next day, they come around and gonna take a fresh catch of urine. Okay, you know what I did. I knew then I wasn't coming out of there. I stuck it down in the clean catch. I put a toothbrush, I put toothpaste, I put the swab with blood and alcohol in it, and I swished it around and I turned it into them. I thought, now, and I'm in hell. I wanted to scream every moment. It was so hard to even live and then worry about my sons, Mark and Scott. If this is happening to me, what's happening to them? So anyway, Dr. Beecham, Paul Beecham, and he's still in practice there in Marietta. Can you believe it? Atlanta. Should be in prison for attempted murder and everything else. God help you. The doctor, what did I say his name was? Chelton. At the emergency room that met me, they were waiting on me, had it planned. I later found out by West Paces Ferry, they sent me a letter saying he wasn't even supposed to be, he wasn't on their staff and not supposed to be there, therefore they're not responsible for what happened. Can you believe it? Well, I can't get an attorney, so there you go. Through all of this. So I remember almost falling when Beecham, doctor, this is Paul Beecham, supposed to be a doctor, and he comes in, and I'm everything starts swirling, and I say, please, I'm falling. I reach out to him. He says, you're going to stop what you're saying about the doctors. And he walked out, and I don't know if I totally fell. I don't know what happened. I really don't. Anyway, my ex-husband comes back from California. He comes in, and he's buddies with Beecham. Can you believe it? They're sitting there not talking to me, ignoring me. And the only thing I can say is I'm in hell, and I can't remember anything. My kid's birthday, their names, some things. It's so horrible, the pain. And they're sitting there talking to each other like they're old buddies. So Dr. Beecham said, I said something about the clean catch, or that it come back and they said it was clean catch. The first one was bad. And he said, oh, yeah, it was perfect catch. I said, that's not true. I was trying to get my ex-husband. I didn't know he was a part of it then. I said, I took a toothbrush and I put it in it with toothpaste, and you come in, whoever it was, at 3 o'clock in the morning and put something in my veins and left the swab. I put that in there, and you're going to tell me that's a clean catch? And he just smiled at my ex-husband and said, oh, yeah, and they smiled at each other. And by the way, the woman in the room with me, when they came in and left the swab, put something in my veins, she disappeared the next day. Well, that's almost Easter, so it's Friday, and my ex-husband comes and gets me, and I think he's taking me home. Well, now it's his apartment. Instead, he takes me to a very ritzy, where they take doctors there. I think it's called Ridge something. Everything in this has got a wood ridge something. But just stayed there one night. It scared me to death. But the doctor there was kind, and he didn't do anything bad to me. The next day, I hoped I was going home. That was Saturday, and the next day's Easter. And seeing if I've got time. And I got to the car, and they didn't take me to my car or my husband's car. They took me to Lina Dempsey, who's mother of the twins, who's the one that tried to help kill me, and she did it again later, November of '82, using the mental health system to do it. But that's something in itself. You get people tangled up in it, and they don't want it told then. But maybe I'll address that later if I have time on this. But Philip, that I thought he was a brother, he was put there, and I don't really know who he is. He was put there as a baby in 1944. I was put there in 41. And Philip had worked for law enforcement, and that's all I'm going to put, one of the agencies, though. But he was there with his wife, Nancy, and Dempsey, and she's sitting in the car, and my ex-husband, and I'm begging them to let me go back to my apartment and my kids. You know what they did? They took my head like you're a criminal and shoved my head down, shoved me in the car with Dempsey, slammed the door, and she drove off with me. We got to, it takes this 4-hour drive. We got back to Huntsville, and I thought, well, at least she's going to take me to her trailer. And by the way, who paid for her trailer? So, no, she's stopping by Crestwood Hospital. These are killing me. You should really know what went on out there. Oh, my God. Anyway, I didn't have any money. I had nobody to call. I could have tried to get my children. At that time, they didn't know what the heck was going on. Anyway, my husband would have stopped them, or ex-husband. He had control now. So anyway, she told me that I was going in there. That's a regular hospital like Fifth Avenue, but it's got a mental health. Mental health. You should know what's going on with the mental health system. Anyway, I was going to run. It was about 9 o'clock at night, and it was cold, because that's what, the 6th of Saturday night, the 6th of April of '80. April Fool Day, and now it's going to be Easter Sunday the next day. So anyway, she says, I'll call the sheriff and have you locked up. If you want to run, I'll call them and have you locked up. So I went in because it wasn't voluntary, but it was made to look that way. So it ended up, I'm going to skip here, it was hell. I stayed there. You should know some of the people I met there that were from Redstone Arsenal, Marshall Space Flight Center, in communication. And there is a key word here. Okay, these people are out there. I got their names. Some of them I still remember, Johnson, and I'm sure there's records. But anyway, I finally got out and was looking for a job and passed a background check to work for Madison County, Alabama, that's Huntsville, District Attorney Fred Simpson. You have to pass a background check. Okay. I was told not to talk about any of this, by the way. Anyway, the sheriff of Madison County was Patterson. And he comes into play. Now, they did a background check on me and everything before I went to work. So I go to work for the DA's office, and I'm in such a condition that it's hard not to scream every minute, and then wondering about my sons. I'm supposed to type, I'm supposed to file, I can't even think. My memory, everything it was so horrible. And I do remember that one of the DAs, they were good. Thank goodness it was like it was set up, stacked, because the DAs were nice to me, and the attorneys there. And anyway, I'm going to leave out the rest of it. This is when John Lennon was killed in November and shot by Mark David Chapman. That's one of the mind control murders. Mark David Chapman was programmed. And by the way, I've told this, they printed it in the paper. Mark David Chapman actually lived here on 9th Street in Roanoke, and they found it in the telephone directory and put it in the picture of it in the paper. Anyway, not funny. It's so ludicrous and ridiculous. But anyway, I keep saying that, trying to get to the next line and get it up. I stayed there, and there's so much you can't put it. I remember when Dempsey took me back, you don't call it a hospital where I was, Crestwood. It was supposed to be a normal hospital, so was West Paces Ferry. By the way, let me say this. The talk screen, I'm going to have to quit in a minute, that I had gone to West Paces Ferry April Fool Day for, never done. Okay, I get Lina Dempsey makes me go in there on Saturday night, next day's Easter. None of the things were done there. Bill Goodson, you have to know who these people used to work for. They're out of Utah, and they were sent to NASA. You talk about an investigation. Congress, if they don't know about all this, you better replace Congress and have them investigated. You really should. But anyway, his name was Bill Goodson, and he's a real close friend to the Jewish. I guess Goodson's Jewish, but Hyman Miller. Now you talk about somebody who need locked up and terror. There you go, right there. He had a German. She was German Jew, and I was told by someone where I tried to live, and I was being force-fed gas, and this is true, fumes. She said, you're paying for what your family did. My family didn't do a darn thing. When you get into history, the Germans were the ones that tried to save me. The United States went in, and after they kidnapped me and took down my father, and with illegal treaties, you talk about getting into somebody else's government. They put Elizabeth, made George VI king. He's illegal.